lost lanes. There's a beacon of hope where survival remains. On the Rural Report, we stand tall and strong, preparing for the worst, but hoping to belong.
Hello again and welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and I want to do a quick couple of housekeeping things before we kick off this episode, one of which I got my OP Nation shirt. That's right, the Orlando Prepper. Thank you so much, sir. I got it in the mail. Excited to don this and show it off. Super proud. So thank you so much for that. Next is I want to make sure that tomorrow you are fully aware that the very first episode of 0 Hour Podcast is going to be live right here Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's where we're going to do introductions and tell you all about the format and all the different things that we're going to do for the podcast. And then the following week, 8 p.m., we were going to kick off episode 2, where we're going to bring on a special guest. So you'll have to figure out who that is as the time comes by. All right, so let's kick this one into high gear here. What do I want to talk about? Because I'm going to make Saturdays my podcast, which is the ugly truth about SHTF. Now, a little tease to this, I was recently talking to JBS, and he wants to go full bore, uncensored, and really just tell everything about it. And I'm considering it. We can't do it here. It would have to be over on Rumble or something like that. The vision that we have of that, but that's still in the very early baby infancy talking stages. So we'll see how that all goes. But for this one, I want to talk about statistics. And the way that I want to do this is when we talk about SHTF in general, if there is some sort of event that happens, doesn't matter, right? And for the sake of argument, let's just say it's some sort of zombie apocalypse. Your statistical survival rate is never 0 and never 100%, right? You always have a choice. You always have a chance. Now, it may be 1% of a chance. It may be half of 1% of a chance. But it's usually never 0, right? Same thing. You can have all the beans, bullets, rice, bandages, water, all sorts of stuff surrounded by the greatest of great and still not make it. Your chances are never 100. Let's break it into a real world scenario. The average home to get from ground level sidewalk or whatever up into the home is about 3 stairs, 3 steps. That's all it is. A lot of people live in apartments or other things, and then, it's all quite a bit more. Some people, it's no step or 1 step, right? But on average, it's about 3 steps. Your statistical chance of going up and down those stairs and not having an accident is never 0 and it's never 100. And I know there's somebody watching going, Rural, I take those stairs every day and I don't get hurt. Congratulations, right? You are beating the odds every single day. Just know the chance is there. And as long as the chance is there that you are going to have a misstep going up or down, or it's going to be wet or icy, or maybe you're tired or in a hurry or carrying things and you can't see the step or whatever, right? If there is even a 1% chance of having an accident, then by mathematical rules, it can't be 100. Okay? That's just the way it is. If you have a 1% chance of having an accident, then that means the only other number is 99% that you're not going to have an accident. Congratulations. That's not 100, right? That's the way that statistics work. And so when we talk about any of the stuff as we move forward, I want you to envision that little example right there, that the odds, as long as there is more than one option, is never 100. Okay. And so when we start going through and we look at different aspects of preparedness, whether it be water, right? Well, I have all sorts of water collected. I have 20 IBC totes of rain catchment and all that, and that is my water supply. Will that get you through, right? Statistically, no, it's not going to. Now, having that much water and maybe being in an area that gets pretty, consistent rains and things like that, yeah, the odds are up, but it's never 100, right? You may get into a drought year and use up quite a bit of that water. You may have an accident with one of the totes or more than one of the totes. You may get something to where, something starts infecting it, or maybe somebody comes along and starts destroying stuff. It goes with that with everything, food. Well, I'm going to grow all my food. I already run a real big farm and things like that. That's great until something comes along, right? You got to remember that in SHTF, maybe you're going to have a lot of more movement of not only two-legged but four-legged things. And so, guess what? You've been fine all these years, but now that you have migration of different things that is out of the norm, because I would say an SHTF situation is out of the norm, suddenly things are getting eaten and trampled and destroyed, and things start to happen. Even if maybe they stay out, maybe what they're carrying is some sort of disease or something like that. uh, there's all sorts of things that can happen. And so, all of your preps that you look at, you've got to go through and take a look and be realistic when it comes to this, right? There's a lot of people that are scared or very hesitant when it comes to canning, right? The botulism and all this stuff sounds really, really horrible. And, it kind of is, but they don't trust themselves in order to can. So they go and they buy store bought, professional canned food. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, I don't blame or put down anybody. If that's the safe option for you, is to buy store bought spaghetti sauce instead of making your own, more power to you, right? I'm not here to shame anybody or say you have to do it this way. You do what works best for you, because statistically, that's going to give you the better shot. Okay, your plan, the way that you're doing stuff, if you build it around you, then it is custom to you. Meaning that if I steal your plan, everything down to the period at the end, it's not going to work for me, and it shouldn't. Yeah, it may get me through a couple of things here and there. Maybe it gets me through a lot, but it's not going to be my plan. So keep that in mind. But when you go through and you buy store bought, how many times have you seen on the news of, oh, there's a recall? This thing's got, listeria, or this thing's got some sort of, this or that or whatever disease insert here. The commercial people, that's literally their business. Guess what? They got it wrong. Something happened. And so the chances of buying store bought, name brand, whatever you want to call it, food and being 100% safe, it's never going to be 100%. It's statistics, right? We're going by mathematical probabilities here and mathematical rules. And I think a lot of people fail to realize this. They take a lot of things for granted. They get that false sense of security. And I think it's time that people kind of step back and take the realization and really kind of look into this. I don't want to talk anybody into preparedness, and I will never talk anybody out of it. But I do want to make sure that people understand what it is, right? It's not a fad. It's not something that's cool. It's not the cute boy or cute girls into it, so I'm going to get into it. It's not the famous person. I'm idolizing them on the TV screen, and so I want to be just like them. It's none of that stuff. It is a personal choice. It's a personal decision that you have to make and you have to live with, right? You get to decide on how serious you want to go into it or how relaxed you want to go into it. You've got to decide how much time that you're willing to sacrifice away from the life that you already have now. You have to go through and make the decision on how much finances you're going to put towards it. And, it's going to be one of those that it's all personal. Prepping is completely a personal thing. Yes, it's fun to do it with others. Yes, I believe, in my opinion, that there is strength in numbers, and that you probably should not do this alone, right? And if you have zombies running up and down the street, uh, and this is one of the ones that I kind of laugh inside a little bit. You literally will have on social media and these little prepping Facebook groups and things like that, they will go, I'm a lone wolf. I'm not depending on anybody. I know my skills, and I'm all prepared and I'm great and all that. And they will go through and just absolutely destroy anybody that tries to say, lone wolfing's not a good idea, right? And they will do everything that they possibly can to defend themselves on being a lone wolf, and then turn around and say, hey, buddy, the prepping rule is 2 is 1 and 1 is none. And I'm going, you're lone wolfing. That's 1. So in SHTF, 1 is none. You just disproved yourself. Like, okay, back up, digress. Let's move past that one, right? Okay, so going with statistics, one of the things that, if you've watched me for quite a while, that you have heard me kind of get up on my soapbox and preach about is when it comes to all the different stuff of preparedness, and we're trying to keep with statistics. You can have a person that has food to the rafters, 2 or 3 lakes on their property, a gas reserve for power. They have solar equipment. They take classes, once a week. They go to the range twice a week. They have animals, like blah blah blah. They have statistically put themselves as close to 100 as possible, and you will get some sort of freak accident that will take them out, and vice versa. You will have some young kid that lives in the basement, that has no job, no life experience, doesn't know how to boil water, never got into a fist fight or anything, socially awkward, backward, all sorts of stuff, and they'll make it out of sheer dumb luck. Okay. Statistically, it's going to happen. So always try to increase your odds. That's all survival is. If you want the absolute definition of what a prepper is, it is doing whatever you need to do to statistically give you the best outcome to survive. Because the only thing when it comes to an SHTF situation, the rule is survival. That's win or lose. That's it, okay? Nobody cares what name brand your backpack is. Nobody cares what color your firearm is. Nobody cares if you can spin a blade and do all the fancy butterfly knife tricks. Nobody cares how you started that fire. When the whistle blows and SHTF is over and civilization is being rebuilt, are you above or below ground? Okay, that is it. Doesn't matter, right? When it comes to the race, if you've got to get from here to here, and I walk and you ride a bicycle, and the other person rides an elephant, and the other person takes an airplane, and the other person rolls on the ground, whatever. Okay, it's all a personal decision. There's no rules on how you are getting from the starting line to the finish line. The only thing is, do you cross the finish line? Okay. There's no firsts. There's no last place. It's, do you survive? That is the goal. Once you get it to where, you feel confident enough that you're going to survive, keeping in mind the ugly truth when it comes to SHTF is you statistically do not have a 100% chance. Once you get, a high enough number where you feel confident, then we can start to focus more on um, trying to make it to the finish line as comfortably as possible. You don't need a whole lot of fancy stuff, right? You can survive on very, very bare minimum stuff. And a lot of people, I think, go through and they're like, oh, but I have to have this and that and this other gadget and this other thing. And I have to have a whole arsenal of stuff. And, I have to have 55 buckets and barrels of freeze dried food that taste absolutely delicious. And yeah, that would be great. It would. You don't have to, right? It would be nice. It would be better. It'd make SHTF a lot more bearable. Um, but you don't have to. And I think a lot of people lose sight in that. One of my pet peeves, watching, because I love to bounce around into different groups and different channels and different other things. But one of my biggest pet peeves is when somebody says, you must buy this name brand. Why? Why does it have to be that name brand, right? Or they say, if you don't have one of these, then you're not going to make it. Why? Well, what's the purpose of that thing? And I see it a lot. You have to have a water filter, and put whatever brand you want in here. But they're like, you have to buy one of these straw water filter things. You absolutely have to, or you won't get clean water. They didn't have that, in the old times. My ancestors never had that. They survived. Why do I have to have this commercialized thing? you know I think a lot of people lose focus and they see somebody else have it, and they respect them, and so now they want one. But finances for people are not where a lot of people would like to be, and it's one of those that you should do two things. And again, my opinion, right? When it comes to getting something, buying something, okay, it comes to finances, two things. One, if you've done your homework, right? You're not buying it on a whim, you're not buying it on emotion, you're not buying it because of whatever dumb thing, but you've looked inside and you go, okay, you know what? This would make things a heck of a lot better. I need to get me one of these. And two, it's not going to put you in debt. You are paying for this outright. Because I am not about doing anything on debt and all that. Once you've made those two choices, it's going to be, for me, it's going to be two things. Is one, is what I'm buying actually going to improve what I am right now? Buy to your skill level, right? um, when we go through and we are trying to learn something new, most people, let's just say you're getting your airport or your captain's license to fly an airplane, okay? Most people start out in like a Cessna or some small airplane, so you get the feel of the controls. Most people don't go, excuse me, here's my form and my $50, I want to become a pilot. And they're like, oh cool, go ahead and jump in that 747 with a whole 150 people in the back, and you'll be just fine. No, we start out small and work our way up. And I would say most people my age understand what I'm saying. You're getting a job in construction right out of school. What happens? It's probably grandpa's or dad's hand me down, swinging hammer is what you're going to get. And then, after a little while, once you put a few more dollars in your pocket, you can buy your own. And then when you buy your own, you're probably not making that much money, so you buy as good as what you can get. And then as you go and you get better and better at swinging that hammer, uh, raises and bonuses and different other things start heading your way, and all of a sudden your finances increase, and by that your disposable income increases. And so what do? You make the call of, well, I can take this out and go party and drink and do all this other stuff, or I can invest in myself and I can buy a better hammer, something that's more comfortable, more durable, something that maybe it's a little lighter and I can swing, harder or for longer or something along those lines. That is one of the big things when it comes to preparedness. So, that's kind of the number one thing for me. Are you actually improving upon yourself and you are buying to your skill level? Don't buy above, don't buy below, buy your skill level. Number two, when it comes to all this stuff, is going to be more into the way of, is this something that I absolutely need to get, or is it something that I want to get? Is this something that I am needing because I am upgrading, or it's filling a hole, or it's a good idea for X, Y, and Z? If that question is yes, okay. But if that question is, well, I already have 17, but this one's on sale and I can save $5, do you really need it, right? uh, you know, it's time to step back and think about it. But there's a lot of people, I think, that get caught up into the gathering of supplies and gear. It's one of those that when it comes, and trust me, I'm guilty. Okay, I'm pointing the finger right at me, just as I'm saying it, because I get it. I'm human. But how many blades can one person carry? Okay, yeah, you could probably carry quite a few. How many do you actually need? How many are useful for, a specific thing? How many can you use at one time, right? If you carry 10 blades, you're only going to use one at a time. Maybe two if you really want to push the envelope, but I wouldn't recommend it. So now these other 9 blades is nothing but dead heavy weight, and they're basically useless until the time calls for it. So, it's one of those things to remember. Yes, they're pretty, they're nice to have. Sometimes it's nice to have a backup to the backup to the backup to the backup. Uh, but there's other things out there. And I make that poor choice myself from time to time because I'm really, really into blades. And so I will see a blade and I know in the back of my head where I go, that $50 would go really nice to a solar panel upgrade that I really could use, but this blade's right in front of me, right? I'm human. I fall for it too. I don't need any more blades ever. For the rest of my life, I don't need another blade and I would be just fine, and yet I still buy them from time to time. What I do need is a little bit better of a solar panel, and I'm putting away for it, and I will be getting one very soon. But I'm just saying, I'm guilty of it too, right? It's the whole he who has not sinned cast the first stone. I'm trying to go off of experience here. I've lived it. I'm living it now. That from time to time, I do one of those where it's ooh shiny. I want. That's just the thing of being an adult, right? It's your money. You get to do what you want with it. But let's bring it back. So when it comes to this, and let's kind of finish maybe a little bit on a rough note, and then maybe we'll lighten it up. But you know, we have to look inside and be very, very honest with ourselves. If we can't make it from the front door to the mailbox, or from the front door to the end of the block, or down 2 flights of stairs, and not be completely out of breath holding our chest, you've got bigger problems, right? You don't need a fancy knife or a fancy firearm or anything along those lines. Your top priority, in my opinion, is you need to lose some weight and get in better shape. Okay, I mean that's just the ugly truth when it comes to that. Um, can most of us be in better shape? Those of you who have seen me at Bug Out Weekend know that I can get in a little better shape. I think I hold my own pretty well. I'm used to it. I have my opinion, and again, it's my opinion when it comes to SHTF. Um, I would like to go into SHTF with a few extra pounds because I would like my body to go after fat before muscle. And so, hopefully, if I am forced into fasting, I have that fat reserve, right? It's kind of what like camels and some of the other ones do. You have a little bit. I don't want it to be a hindrance, though, right? I want to be able to carry my body weight well. Is it right? I don't know. Is it wrong? I have no clue. Okay. But it's what I came up with personally, and it's what I am going to do. Um, and we'll hopefully never find out if it works, right? But I have put myself to the test. I have rucked. I've carried a rucksack and went off grid and started going up and down trails and stairs and different other things, and I can do it. I'm confident in myself, so it works for me. It may not work for you, but there's a lot that goes into it. And it's sad to say, and I'm sorry to have to be one that has to break the news of if you have medical issues, right? You have to be one of the ones that are very, very realistic. If you need a certain medication in order to wake up the next morning and SHTF happens, your chances of long-term SHTF is not very good. Now, if you can do something, change your lifestyle, your diet or something, and wean yourself down on that dependency, amazing, right? I would highly suggest get to work. But some people are not that fortunate. They just got dealt a bad hand in life, and I'm sorry, right? It's just one of those things to where some people are born into a higher quality and form of life, and some people have to work a lot harder at it. It is what it is. There's a lot I think that it skips over medically, and if there, because one of the big things that's out there medically is depression medications and anti-anxiety medications. If you can't get those, what do you think is going to be probably two of the biggest things to happen during an SHTF? Depression, anxiety, no meds, right? If you take those, you might want to try and start talking to somebody or somebody professionally or anything along those lines on what it is that you can do to control those or find some sort of medicinal ways or something along those lines. So that way, you don't have that chemical dependency because there's a lot of people I think that are going to be very dependent on medications like that. And if they let it take over and take control, their statistics of survival is not going to be that good. So, uh, but it's just something I want to throw out there, right? One of the things that I want to make sure once a week is we talk about the ugly truths. Yeah, we can bring on fun, flashy things. We can talk about the sexy stuff and the fun and exciting stuff and all the cool, neat, tactical, blah blah blah. But there's also the down and dirty. There's also the stuff that's difficult to talk about and think about and discuss. And I want to make sure that at least once a week we highlight some of that stuff. So um, this is just a 10-foot wave top sort of thing when it comes to the statistics and things like that. But I wanted to give it its due justice. I apologize that this went a little longer. Um, we'll see how this goes because I've been kicking around the idea of making my podcast a full hour, but we'll see how everything goes. But thank you so much for watching. If you made it to this far in the video, guess what? You rock. I appreciate you so much. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to spend it with me. So I greatly appreciate it. So I hope you guys have an amazing day, a blessed day, and stay tuned because there's more information to come. With that, please remember, remain united, because we're all prepping in this together.